It was an unusually crisp morning in Mumbai, the kind where the city's usual chaos felt a bit quieter, almost as if it was holding its breath. Ajay adjusted the rear-view mirror of the sleek black Mercedes-Benz, his white uniform neatly pressed, cap slightly askew. He'd been a driver for Mr. Sinha, a powerful and sharp-tongued industrialist, for just over a year now. Every morning, he picked him up from the mansion in Juhu, drove him to his office, and waited quietly in the shade. That was his world, structured, silent, and safe. But that morning was different. Instead of the boss stepping out of the marble-pillared mansion, it was her, Anya. Anya Sinha, the boss's only daughter. She was sunlight wrapped in a breeze. She carried a thick book, wore simple jeans and a loose kurti, and had a coffee stain on her sleeve. She smiled politely and slid into the backseat. "Good morning," she said softly. Ajay nodded, swallowed a lump in his throat, and managed, "Good morning, ma'am." From that day on, she rode with him often. Mr. Sinha was away on business, and Anya, recently returned from studying abroad, had taken a job in one of the family's charitable foundations. It became routine. Ajay driving, Anya in the back, music softly playing. Sometimes they talked about the traffic, the heat, the books she read. Other times, silence fell between them, and strangely, it never felt awkward. It felt peaceful. Ajay had never imagined he'd talk this freely with someone like her. She was everything he wasn't: wealthy, educated abroad, well-read. And yet, she listened. She asked him questions about his life, his village, his mother's illness, even his dreams. And when he spoke, she didn't look away or fidget with her phone. She looked straight at him, like he mattered. That was the beginning of a storm. Because Ajay fell in love. Not with the idea of her, but with her laughter. The way she got nervous before presentations. The way she talked to beggars on the street. The way she looked at the world, as if it was still good. He tried to fight it. He reminded himself of the line, the wide, unforgiving gap between them. He was just the driver. She was the boss's daughter. Even daring to dream was a betrayal of his place. But the heart doesn't understand boundaries. And neither, it seemed, did Anya. One rainy evening, stuck in traffic, Anya confessed something that turned Ajay's world upside down. "I'm tired of it all," she said, staring out the window. The expectations. The pressure to marry some NRI businessman just to merge two companies. "I don't even know what I want. But I do know I like talking to you, Ajay. I feel free with you." Ajay gripped the steering wheel tightly. "You don't know what you're saying, ma'am." She turned to him. "Don't call me, ma'am. Please." He didn't respond, but his silence screamed with 1,000 emotions. A few weeks later, Mr. Sinha returned, and everything changed. Ajay was pulled from his usual duties. Another driver took over for Anya. Rumors spread among the staff. One evening, he was summoned to the study. Mr. Sinha sat behind his massive mahogany desk, a half-burned cigar in hand. "I trusted you," he said, voice like ice. "My daughter is not for drivers to fall in love with." Ajay's face burned with shame. He hadn't said a word to Anya. He hadn't dared act on anything. But somehow, it had shown. "I'll send you back to your village. You'll get double severance. Just disappear." Ajay stood tall, shaking but firm. "I never touched her, never disrespected your trust. But yes, I did fall in love. And I'm not ashamed of that." For a long moment, there was silence. Mr. Sinha looked at him, eyes filled with something unreadable. "You're dismissed." Ajay left the mansion that night. With nothing but a small bag and a heavier heart. He moved to Pune, picked up gigs as a cab driver. Days turned into weeks. Months passed. He tried to forget her. He really did. But love doesn't leave with distance. It stays. One evening, after a long shift, he saw her, Anya, standing outside his rented apartment in the rain, drenched but determined. "I looked for you," she said, voice trembling. "I fought with him. I left the house. I got a job on my own. I didn't come to ask. I came to say, I choose you." Ajay stared, heart racing, unable to believe it. "But what about your father? Your life?" She stepped forward. "I'm not my father. And I don't want a life built on convenience. I want one built on truth. On kindness. On love. With you." Ajay broke. Every wall, every doubt, every fear collapsed. He took her hand. They didn't have a grand wedding. No fireworks. No media. But they built a home. Simple, warm, filled with books and laughter and late-night walks. Anya took up teaching. Ajay started a driving school. Years later, Mr. Sinha came to visit. He didn't apologize, but he held his granddaughter in his arms and cried. And that was enough. The message: love doesn't recognize class, power, or status. It recognizes character, courage, truth. And when two people are brave enough to walk away from expectations and into the unknown, they don't just find each other, they find freedom. She stepped into the back seat that morning, but little did I know, she'd take the driver's seat in my heart forever.